Here we go again with a second try. Hi, folks. This is Mountain Man coming to you from parts unknown. And while people get into the chats, I'll recap what I did last time, where we had a roller coaster of a day with Matt Gaetz, and as most of you know, the end result being Pam Bondi being nominated to be Attorney General, another Florida person. And the template is being set. But I started off my broadcast before I got interrupted with this little picture here, how they're always trying to tear down Trump. I heard CBS was taking down all of its Trump dance on CBS Sports, taking them all down. Babylon Bee did this joke about newly unearthed video about Adolf. And I was joking about that. I hope I'm coming in clear now. How you all doing? Hi, Sissy. Hi, Linda. Hi, Mac. Wayne says it sounds better. But then I showed where Biden came in and he's doing the Trump dance. Kamala asked Biden to stop doing the Trump dance at cabinet meetings. Hi, Angela. Robin, how you doing? Kim says, perfect. That's good. Okay. Hard to get better than perfect, isn't it? So anyway, I had this, here we go, breaking news alert. This is the one about Matt Gaetz. Everybody's head was spinning. What is going on?
We have breaking news this hour. Matt Gaetz is stepping down from his nomination to Attorney General of the United States. Many said this was the most contentious of the nominations made by former President Trump. And he has announced categorically that he will not be seeking confirmation to the post of Attorney General. Here are his words. I had an excellent meeting with senators yesterday. I appreciate their thoughtful feedback and the incredible support of so many. While the momentum was strong, it is clear that my confirmation was unfairly becoming a distraction to the critical work of the Trump-Vance transition. There's no time to waste on a needlessly protracted Washington scuffle. Thus, I'll be withdrawing my name from consideration to serve as Attorney General. Trump's DOJ must be in place and ready on day one. I remain fully committed to seeing that Donald J. Trump is the most successful president in history. Look, Griff, this was quick. I mean, the appointment.
Yeah, that was quick. And so, we know a lot more happened. There was an irresponsible report that came out about that Mr. T might have been hurt, and that was quickly quashed. I'll put up some of the statements from Dan Scavino and others. CBS News being very irresponsible about reports of ambulances and whatnot. But so a lot of people were on edge throughout the day, pontificating, why did Matt Gaetz quit? Remember a long time ago, and recently I covered it again, or discussed it again, how game theory. Game theory, if you're good at game theory, you're going to get in the officer corps because it's all about moves and counter moves, strategy and battle, stuff like that. Same thing here with the PSYOP. Hi, Flannel Cheese. How you doing? Mike's here. Miss Bender Sue. How you doing? So anyway, it seems that Gaetz is going to be where he's always been, and they accomplished a number of things. They flushed out who was in the Senate going to work against Trump. And it's the usual suspects. One of them was Lisa Murkowski. And I got the list of 4 of them that were hard N's. But anyway, I promised you I'd put this picture up here. Right here. Remember I was talking about Dianne Feinstein standing over top of Murkowski like a mob boss? And I discussed how the certain governorships and senator positions got taken away back in the day when Obama was coming in. Well, this was Feinstein threatening somebody right there in front of your eyes. You know, you can get this picture real easy. I'll show you in a minute. But underneath this picture, it says, picture repost. A picture is worth 1,000 words. See the evil in the face of Feinstein? See the fear and emotion in the face of Murkowski? A phone was present. Ha ha ha. And you see the top of that letter I can't put on here, but let's see what Dianne Feinstein's face looks like. Is that evil or not? You tell me. If you had Dianne Feinstein blocking you off and staring at you with a mean look during the, I believe this was during the Kavanaugh hearings, and Lisa Murkowski pleading her case to Dianne. So anyway, if you want to do a little go down memory lane with that, let me show you something. It's easy. It's easy. You just go to that site I told you about. CUE, the letter that sounds like, and you just put Feinstein in there, see, and hit the little magnifying glass. 17 posts containing Feinstein. Here's the last one. Fox News, Jim Hunter, Biden-China joint venture, key contacts. Look here. Key domestic contacts for phase 1 target projects. Harris. Oh, Democrat California. Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer, who was looking so glum. Amy Klobuchar, Dianne Feinstein, she's gone. Christian Gillibrand, Andrew Cuomo, he's in hiatus. Bill de Blasio, he's out of office. Former Virginia Governor Terry McAuliffe, among others. Pandora's elite box. That's what they've been working on, folks. But you can just put in that one name. This is back in October 22nd, 4 years. Yeah, just a little over 4 years ago. So I thought you all would think that was fun to look at. Going down memory lane. What's this? What's this? CNN claims another scandal involving Matt Gaetz is imminent. Paul Reed puts up there. Exclusive, Matt Gaetz withdrew from AG nomination 45 minutes after we called to say we were going to report. The ethics committee told there was a second S3 actual encounter between Gaetz and a 17-year-old in 2017. What is she saying? He withdrew 45 minutes after we called to say somebody leaked some information or alleged information. So, fine. I think they found out people who were moles, people who were troublemakers, putting the icing on the cake. And my first broadcast that was interrupted, I was saying, what's going on with Biden? The way he came, in a way, he came through for Trump wearing the red hat. You all know about that, how he did certain things there in the home stretch. And what's going on with Fetterman? How it seems his whole personality, his positions, a lot of things have changed since he was hospitalized at Andrews Air Force Base in basically solitary, being treated supposedly for depression. But anyway, here's what he said when he heard about the Gaetz stepping down. Seems like he knew what was going on. Let me cut my mic off and I'll play it for you.
Package dropping out.
Holy
I didn't see that coming.
Oh.
I mean, yes, he was the ultimate troll, and people have the opportunity. They can freak out over things and respond. And if you want to do that, you don't have to. You better pace yourself, though, because it's not even Thanksgiving, and we don't have to react and take unserious things so seriously that the world's going to spin off its axis the way it is right now. But I just heard something. I heard that Trump is going to issue a new silver dollar to commemorate that. So I think that's going to be the next cycle.
He said from the very start that they were all being trolled. And the way he behaved right now, he was like, he knew this was going to happen. And he's telling them that basically there's more to come. You better calm down. It's not even Thanksgiving yet. So I don't know. Remember when I said J.D. Vance was probably being debriefed? I said he hadn't been seen for a while because he's being given the rundown stuff that pretty, intense. Maybe that happened to Fetterman when he was at Andrews Air Force Base. Maybe that's why he doesn't have the wife he had as a communist operative. Or he could have been like Joe. I mean, Trump said Joe was shot in the head. I don't know. He's a different person, wouldn't you say? But then after that alert about Matt Gaetz stepping down, we get this. Let me see if I can get this the right side. This is what I played in my first broadcast that got it messed up somehow. It's about Pam Bondi out of Florida. Ha ha, Florida girl.
Breaking tonight, a lot happening during this show. Just announced, the president-elect has selected Pam Bondi as the next Attorney General of the United States. I'll read from this announcement from the president-elect. I'm proud to announce former Attorney General of the great state of Florida, Pam Bondi, as our next Attorney General of the United States. Pam was a prosecutor for nearly 20 years, where she was very tough on violent criminals and made the streets safe for Florida families. Then, as Florida's first female Attorney General, she worked to stop the trafficking of deadly drugs and reduce the tragedy of fentanyl overdoses deaths, which have destroyed many families in our country. She did such an incredible job that I asked her to serve as our Opioid and Drug Abuse Commission. During my first term, we saved many lives. Again, he goes on to say she's smart and tough and is America First fighter who will do a terrific job as Attorney General. Again, Pam Bondi from Florida, the next nominee for President-elect Trump, who obviously saw today that Matt Gaetz pulled his name from nomination as the votes were not there on Capitol Hill in the Senate for Matt Gaetz as Attorney General. Pam Bondi, now the name that the president-elect has put forward in that.
What are they going to do about this? What are they going to do about this? They're not going to drag up a bunch of garbage about her. And if they do, they're going to have their hands full with her. But here you got this. This is where the notion came to me about dangerous and effective. Okay. First of all, I was going to talk about the counterstrike by Putin, which I'm going to play his speech. Okay. And I've got video of the weirdest looking airstrikes you ever saw. But I'll get to that in a bit. That's another thing that's dangerous and effective. But right now, we're dealing with what I believe is our stealth bomber. Those of you who have been with me for a while, and I know some people have listened later on that have been with me. How many letters has Pam Bondi got in her name? Stealth bomber, 8 letters, right? Oh, I said how many? Wait a minute. But let me play you what the MSM's initial reaction to Pam Bondi.
Pam Bondi is exactly what I was saying in the last segment that we should all fear, because she's competent. We may not agree with her ideologically, but she actually knows how to do this job. So if anyone on the Democratic side or anyone who cared about liberty or justice was thinking, well, maybe Matt Gaetz will screw this up and that'll give us some time. No, Pam Bondi knows what she's doing. She knows what she's doing about immigration. Remember, Florida is one of those states that's been very aggressive about migrants and deportation and moving people to different states and everything else like that. Florida has enacted all sorts of rules and laws to curtail students and what they can do on campuses and finding legal justifications for manipulating education money. She is a dangerous and effective pick, and that's frankly worse than what we would have got with Matt Gaetz, even with the deplorable moral background that he has.
Yeah, and I want to discuss that with a little more depth with both of you, including her record on civil rights, LGBTQ rights, and other issues that are front and center at the DOJ, and which we know were also big campaign issues this cycle.
Yeah. So you might want to recount that, Sissy, that how many number of letters she has in her name. Stealth bomber, 8 letters. And you talk about switching out Matt Gaetz and having a new one in the same day. If that ain't a stealth bomber, I don't know what is. And who defended Trump during what I talked about last night? The Vindman trying to mess with the transcript on the Zelensky call, the impeachment, the first impeachment. You guys with me on that? I think we just found out who the stealth bomber is. Might be more than one wave. Might be that's why I got on my screen. Multiple. Where is my thumbnail? Let me get that for you. Multiple stealth bombers may be coming through. Let me see. Where's that thumbnail? Pam Bondi's just the first one. The end of an age. The end of an age. What's age is ending? Well, according to Putin's foreign minister, the age of the hegemony of the Western powers, okay, that have been running the financial system here in America and over in Europe for 1,000 years. Now we're seeing the end of an age. The powers that be in Washington, D.C. being pressured and coming to the point of being crushed. We're seeing the end of an age of this daytime BS television that people have been watching. Did you see this little meme yet? This is a good one to get a pair of scissors and get a clip, send to your friends. We're
miserable. We're miserable.
Yeah, I had to play that twice. Ha ha ha. I might play it 3 times. What do I care? I'll play it again.
We're miserable.
Ha 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 ha. I can't get enough of that. We're seeing the end of a lot of things that are coming up where people realize the mainstream media is full of garbage. Full of garbage. Let me see what's going on, chat. So what do you all think? That I'm on point with where we're at in this operation? Because you know that Mr. T knew this was going to happen, right? Well, Mike, it is an ongoing battle. It's a never-ending story, okay? The price of freedom is eternal vigilance. Hi, Marie. How you doing? Roland. Yeah, Pam is the point of the spear. She's tough. And the same day all this stuff is going on, Trump put this out. Trump put this out about the case with Mercan, okay? Mercan artist, that so-called judge. Let me tell you, Pam Bondi's going to address this stuff. the attack on the executive branch, the attacks on Donald Trump. But Alan Dershowitz, and this is Jarrett, isn't it? Steve Jarrett, is that his name? They have been on Trump's side from the very beginning. They're going to be playing a role. So since Trump put this out today, I'm going to play it today.
Legal analyst Greg Jarrett, former Harvard law professor Alan Dershowitz. Let's go to the Trump issue first. Professor, we know the Supreme Court has ruled on the issue of presidential immunity. We know in this case that evidence was presented to that jury, Hope Hicks, for example, testimony given in that case directly tying Donald Trump to the time he was in office. That case, on every measure, should be thrown out. A novel legal case, statute of limitations long gone, for a legal NDA that was labeled an NDA and put together by a lawyer for the president.
Well, this is a slam dunk for appeal, which is exactly why Bragg doesn't want it to go to appeal. He wants to campaign for office next year with the scalp of Donald Trump, saying, I have him convicted by a jury. He wants to make sure when he serves as president, he's always referred to by CNN as a president who was convicted by a jury. This is an attempt to circumvent the appellate process. It's illegal, it's unethical, it's unconstitutional, it's immoral. And my advice to the Trump lawyers is if Marchant says he's going to put this sentencing off for 4 years, immediately file a writ of mandamus to the appellate courts. It's a very, very appropriate writ because the writ of mandamus is designed to get review when you can't get an appeal. And here, by denying him the right to be sentenced right now, they're denying him the right to appeal because under New York law, you can't appeal until you have a final judgment, and a final judgment means a sentence. So this is an attempt to circumvent the law. It's an attempt to put Bragg above the law, and I think the courts will hold him responsible and will do the right thing and reverse this conviction on appeal.
Do you agree with that, Greg Jarrett, or maybe just let the judge sentence Donald Trump, then go through the appeals process while he is president?
Sure.
Well, we just don't know what he's going to do. But I do agree that delaying the Trump case for 4 years is ludicrous. It's an insult to justice, and it violates state law, by the way, that requires sentencing within 12 months from conviction. The dilemma for Trump's lawyers is that they cannot appeal all of Merchan's chronic reversible errors at trial until there is, as the professor points out, an adjudication. Well, that happens at sentencing. They can, however, immediately appeal if Merchan denies the motion to dismiss on the immunity claim. If the judge refuses to rule, and that's what he's doing right now, they should seek a writ of mandamus from a higher court, force him to do his job, for goodness sakes.
Right.
But also the defense still has pending a petition to remove the case to federal court where it belongs, because this was always an incoherent prosecution. It should never have been brought. Bragg manipulated the law, transforming misdemeanors into phantom felonies. He claimed it influenced the election. Well, guess what? The transactions happened after the election, and it's not a crime to conceal a perfectly legal non-disclosure agreement. People do it every day. So in the end, the conviction will never stand up. Merchan and Bragg know it. That's why they want to delay the inevitable.
All right, I'll stay.
They know it, and they're delaying the inevitable. But one of the key things Alan Dershowitz said, that this prosecution was not only immoral, it's illegal. And it's very rare where you hear Alan Dershowitz use that phraseology, okay, when dealing with other people who practice law. He's usually, kind of wishy-washy and makes excuses for them. But here's another end of an era. The warmongers. John Bolton wakes up from a terrifying nightmare of world peace. Yeah, the Warhawks, their era is coming to an end. These prosecutors, this guy named Alex, he gets quoted by quite a few people. 6 Soros-backed district attorneys facing re-election in 25-26. Oh, Alvin Bragg, he might be under arrest before then. Larry Krasner, Joe Gonzalez, John Crusoe, Brian Middleton, Jacqueline Sartors. Hey, 3 of them in Texas. What do you think's going to happen to them? Pam Bondi worked really well with Ken Paxton, is what I heard. And another one who gave their stamp of approval to Pam Bondi is Mark Levin, the great one, Mark Levin. And he was on in the Justice Department under the Reagan administration. And I've talked with him a number of times, and I have a friend of mine who worked with him as an attorney for the U.S. Justice Department back in the 1980s. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. That's another thing I was going to put in my thumbnail, because Trump said he was going to have fun with Michelle. And Pam Bondi said, after Mark Cuban said Trump doesn't have smart women around him, he said, Pam Bondi said, I'm going to have fun with you, Mark Cuban, for saying that to me. We'll show you who's smart women. So, yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm not going to. Here's somebody that's not going to have fun right here. Joe Scarborough is reportedly petrified of who? Matt Gaetz becoming Attorney General and investigating the suspicious unaliving of his intern. Well, calm down, Joe. It's not going to be Matt Gaetz. It's going to be Pam Bondi. What do you think? She'll probably just ignore it, right? In a pig's eye, after all the stuff you said about Trump, after all the hate and vitriol you stirred up. So anyway, it's not going away. How do you like this one here? I was going to put this one up instead of I'm back, did you miss me? Truth Fellows. Ha ha. Truth Fellows. Instead of Goodfellas. Devin Nunes, President Trump, and Dan Scavino. I might as well leave it up. It's easy to read the chats through it. That's right, Miss Mindersue. Let the games begin. Hi, Ann. How you doing? Ha ha ha. So anyway, I'm excited. I was a little bit concerned when Gaetz just folded like he did. But not really. Not really. They got too much on the ball to be making rookie mistakes. Now, I want to show you these pictures. I got some videos of these counterstrikes. Hi, Larry. How you doing? These counterstrikes by Russia in Ukraine. And what they said, the information that was put out, was that it was the first time in history that Russia used intercontinental ballistic missiles on an opponent when they bombed Ukraine. Well, turns out that's not the truth. They weren't intercontinental ballistic missiles. But I'm going to play this video. I got to cut my mic off. You take a look at it. Tell me what you see. I've got different angles of different strikes they did. That's from one missile. They said it had 6 sister missiles, okay? And the U.S. put out a statement saying that it wasn't intercontinental ballistic missiles. it was medium range. Then they changed it to medium range missiles. But turns out that's not even the case. Here's another angle. Yeah, I've got even more than that. It doesn't look like any missiles I've seen in World War II movies or anything else. Let's see. Here's something else. Another angle. Let me get that big enough where you can see it. It's not intercontinental ballistic missiles and not medium range ballistic missiles. One more angle. This is odd because you see the lights of the city. Okay? This is another strike. And like Roland says, it looks like the ground penetrators. I don't know. Let me cut my mic off and play it. I don't know. What did that look like to you all? You don't see a big flash of light or smoke or anything. You see these things striking the ground like lightning bolts. I'll play it again. That last volley was something like four of them at the same time. That last volley. So I'm just looking at the chats here, and I see different suppositions. They're not hypersonic. That was confirmed too. It's a good guess. Tugo says directed energy. I was thinking about that too. But no, they're. Well, I'll tell you what I'll do. I will play what, and we should listen to it. This is a television reporter who was discussing the strikes, where they landed and what the damage was. She gets a phone call while she's on air. She's not speaking in English, but she knows. She says one thing in English, so she knows some English. She said, "I know," and word is that the voice on the other end is telling her, "Don't talk about those missiles or what happened because of those missiles." But anyway, she's in the middle of doing a broadcast. Watch this.
Так, с нами ли портал News.ru? Да. Алло. Да, у меня брифинг. Да, хорошо, спасибо.
She got the call, kind of like Sonny Houston got the call, "Shut your mouth about Matt Gaetz. Here's your legal notice. You better read all of it." Well, she just got quiet. When that's what she's supposed to do. She, can't talk about state secrets and stuff. So anyway, I think the thing to do is I'm going to play, because I see plasma weapons is a good guess. Possible CGI. Well, I'll play it again. It doesn't look like the lights in the impact area. The lights in the impact area were remained on. I mean, and you don't know the distance from those lights could be way farther back from the actual site, the strike site. So anyway, I'll just play it again real quick. I don't know till we get reports, but I'll tell you what I'll do. Putin put out a address, and I can't remember the entire content of it, but we'll listen to it together. He says that they were not hypersonic. He says they were not medium-range ballistic missiles or intercontinental ballistic missiles. He says that they are something that cannot be intercepted by Western systems like the Patriot system. As a matter of fact, one of the strikes took out a Patriot system. Okay? So it's not defensible by known technology with the West. He said it's experimental, okay? And it's not traditional ballistic medium range or long range intercontinental. And he probably says more than that, I can't remember. But this is translated very well, so you won't have any problem listening to what he says. So I'm going to go ahead and play it now in its entirety.
Around the world, as well as those who still nurture illusions that a strategic defeat can be inflicted against Russia, about events that are happening in the Special Military Operations Zone. I'm talking about what happened in the wake of long-range Western weapons being used in the Special Military Operations Zone. As a result of the escalation, the United States and their NATO allies said that they give their permission to use long-range weapons against targets inside Russia. Experts know fully well, and the Russian side has underscored this time and again, that using such weapons without the direct involvement of military operators from manufacturing countries is impossible. On November the 19th, 6 ATACMS missiles manufactured in the US were used, and on the 21st, a combined attack using Storm Shadow manufactured in the UK and missiles manufactured in the US were used to attack missile targets in the Bryansk and Kursk regions of the Russian Federation. Starting from that point, as we have underscored many times, the regional conflict in Ukraine, provoked by the West, acquired a global character. Our anti-missile systems countered those attacks. As a result, the targets and objectives set by the enemy were not achieved. The fire and the ammunition storage in the Bryansk region, as a result of fragments of ATACMS missiles falling, has been contained. No victims. In the Kursk region, one of the command and control centers of our Sever group was attacked. As a result of the attack and the countermeasures, there have been people wounded and killed, and those who were involved in servicing these facilities But those who were members of the command have not been hit by the attack and are now continuing their operation to remove the enemy from the Kursk region. I repeat, the use of such weapons cannot change the course of the special military operation.
Okay, I'm taking a chance on pausing this, and I've got another mic on so I can talk. He's saying that the initial attack by both the Storm Shadow and the ATACMS, and that's what the initials, if you say it phonetically, that's what it is, ATACMS, failed. And I read in a earlier post that they were intercepted by Russian defense systems because they're traditional missiles, and they were shot down. The only damage they had was from the remnants of one of the missiles, and I think it wasn't Storm Shadow, it was the ATACMS. So and there were no fatalities. But still, the fact they used them, he said, turned the conflict into a global affair. That's not a good, that's the way it is. And it ain't good. But anyway, let him finish.
Our military is successfully advancing along the entire line of contact, and all the objectives that we set before ourselves will be met. As a response to the use of US and UK manufactured weapons, the Russian forces have carried out a combined strike on one of the military-industrial facilities in Ukraine. And this included the test of a novel intermediate-range Russian missile system. A ballistic missile with a non-nuclear hypersonic payload was used. The test was carried out successfully. The objectives of the launch have been met.
Now, I was wrong. He said a non-nuclear hypersonic missile. Did I hear that right? Is that what you all heard also? A non-nuclear hypersonic missile? So you all were right.
One of the largest and well-known industrial centers that is known since the Soviet times in the Dnieper region, which is known and to be involved in enemy production, was hit. And further plans are being made in Europe and the Asia-Pacific to deploy weapons and missiles. And we believe it is a mistake on the part of the United States to destroy the system that was established by the Missile Treaty in 2019. We see that the United States and their allies are now considering and has successfully tested their capabilities to deploy advanced missile systems in different parts of the world. And their exercises routinely include the use of such weapons. Russia has unilaterally refused to deploy intermediate and small-range missiles until we see similar weapons deployed by the United States in a region of the world. The use of the novel system, which was essentially an operational test, was carried out in response to the decisions made by the United States and their allies. And the further actions will be considered and decided based on what we see from them.
He called it a novel system, and that this was an operational test of a novel, of course, means new, a new system. So, and that's why the Zelensky government put out a statement saying they were being used as guinea pigs for this type of weapon system.
The further course of action will be determined based on the threats to the security of the Russian Federation. We believe that we have the right to use our weapons against military facilities of countries who allow their weapons to be used against ours. And in case of an escalation, we will act as decisively in a mirror fashion. The ruling elites of the countries are nurturing plans to use their military contingents against Russia should be warned. When choosing measures to be used in response, such as the use of systems that was tested recently in Ukraine, will certainly include warnings to civilians and to clear the zones that will be targeted. And we will certainly do this in a transparent fashion. And we do not have any fears that it will reduce the effectiveness of those systems, because there is no way to counteract a missile that flies at 10 Mach, which is 2.5 to 3 kilometers per second. Existing anti-missile systems and the anti-missile systems deployed by the United States and Europe cannot intercept such missiles. It is impossible. So, once again, it is not Russia, but the United States who have destroyed the system of international security. And they are trying to preserve their hegemony and stoking a global conflict. We have always preferred, and we still prefer, to resolve our disagreements using peaceful means, but we are prepared for any scenario. And if anyone has any doubts, they shouldn't. There will always be a response.
What did he say? He said they travel at Mach 10. Let me get this mic. He said, I don't know if you can hear me better or not. He said they travel at Mach 10, and it's impossible for them to stop them. And that if they choose a target, they will be transparent and give civilians ample warning to clear out. Because it's minutes when you have something that fast and no way to stop it. You know, what are they going to do if they say we're going to hit this air base? What are you going to do in 5 minutes besides run like hell? So 27,000 miles an hour, Ducat. I think he said Mach 10. I'm not sure. It's pretty daggone fast. Pretty daggone fast. And so now I'm even more convinced that Trump left that meeting with Biden and he was angry because he was told that the West was going to poke the bear. So anyway, what do we get a glimpse of? We get a glimpse of weapons that have never been seen before. And it's going to change the entire landscape as far as countries being involved in wars or these people that are aggressively pursuing wars. They will think twice. So anyway. Hi, Tammy. How you doing? I'm sure they'll come up with, lasers are very fast, but I don't know how powerful they are. Yeah, they can sink aircraft carriers in just a matter of minutes. So notifying civilians, what about the troops? I mean, they got all these people out there that hadn't even trained but for a couple of weeks, and they used to be working at a barber shop or a bakery, or they get drug out there in the battlefield. Less than 5 minutes, where are you going to go? What are you going to do? So anyway, I thought I'd play those videos for you to, do they even care? Do these elites, as Putin put it, do they even give a damn about starting something so horrific? Yeah, thank you, television shows. Like and subscribe and share. Let me see. I've got some of these. Putin covered quite a bit of the things happen so fast that you get your screenshots and information, and it's irrelevant within hours. That's how fast things have been happening. Here's something that they don't like over there in the UK. Half of young men in Britain would vote for Donald Trump, survey finds. This is that story of ambulances coming to Mar-a-Lago that had everybody upset. CBS shouldn't have put that stuff out there. Jack Posobiec said it's lib journal BS. Trump is fine. Breaking: Mitch McConnell was a hard no on Gaetz, along with 3 other senators, Murkowski, Collins, and Curtis. So we got them dead to rights. Well, we know McConnell's going. He's out the door already. So we got to deal with Murkowski, Collins, and Curtis. Kept them 1 vote under the threshold for confirmation. But Dan Scavino put this up. I am currently at Mar-a-Lago, and 4547 is in a meeting. The movements being reported by the unofficial pool, who are staked outside of the property, of cars, vans, ambulances, and a helicopter hovering above, are that of Vice President-elect J.D. Vance's motorcade. Nothing more, nothing less. Sadly, they thought they were on to something more. Hopefully, they clarify and correct immediately. Here you go. Lives a TikTok put this out about Ellen the Degenerate. Talk about end of an era. The View getting thrown in the dumpster. You see MSNBC is getting spun off. Joe Scarborough is probably going to be fired along with Mika. No more Ellen DeGenerate. Says, hey, Great Britain, she's your problem now. And there's the Ellen saying, this group of kids had a dream to dance with Diddy. Today, that dream came true. Want to talk about Matt Gaetz while they got little kids. Here's another thing she put out. Elon Musk put out of hers. Elon Musk, it makes sense why she fled the country after the election. Happy birthday, P. Diddy, Puff Daddy, Sean Combs, as I call him, Cuddle Mix Snuggle Stuff. You don't need to know why at I Am Diddy. Oh, well, people are going to find out why. What's this? Oh, my God. This is something I've talked about in the past. I talked about this 2 years ago. People don't know the depth and the extent of what's on the screen right now. We were told that the majority of adults, if they knew everything that was going on with the elites, would need to be put under the care of a psychiatrist. That's how sickening what these people are doing. Things the average citizen, no matter the country, would have difficulty coming to grips with. This is the tip of the iceberg. Newly revealed emails obtained by the Center for Media Progress show that Planned Parenthood negotiated to sell, I got to watch what I say, viable then bore into fetuses to conduct experiments on. This is absolutely evil. I, along with the Epic Times, was talking about how professors at where? Penn State, Pennsylvania. Professors were arrested. We haven't heard any updates. What did they have? They had a bag of cells, is what they call them. Fetuses, okay? That they claimed were beyond the age of gestation. Get what I'm saying? That they were doing experiments on. And the Epic Times wrongly stated that gestation was up to 10 months. We all know it's 9 months. But anyway, without knowing the exact number of weeks, I do know that the gist of the charging documents were that the infants were removed that were viable at 28 weeks, 30 weeks. But by the time these professors were arrested from conception, they were up to 9 months, 10 months. Okay? And they were kept viable, which means alive, in a laboratory, and they were being experimented on. We're going to find out about stuff like that. And that's just that one case. We heard about Epsteinio, right? He had that property in, where was it, Montana? Where he had a laboratory. God knows what they were doing there. So anyway, Laura Loomer put this out. Pam Bondi is going to have a lot of fun. Judge Mercan's daughter's client announces run for New Jersey governor. Judge Mercan's daughter's client, another client of Judge Mercan's daughter's firm, Authentic Campaigns, seems to be in line for promotion. United States Representative Mickey Sherrill announced she's running for governor of New Jersey. They like to stay in power, but they won't be for long. They won't be for long. What's this one? I don't know why this was put up. Elon Musk just learned at Mar-a-Lago that Jeff Bezos was telling everyone that Donald Trump would lose for sure. So they should sell their Tesla and SpaceX stock. Jeff Bezos responded, nope, 100% not true. Well, Jeff, is that why you bent the knee and didn't endorse Kamala Harris with the newspaper? Is that why you had lost 250,000 subscriptions? And you're firing your chief political editor at the end of the year? You decided you're going to play ball? I think that's the answer. I answered my own question, didn't I? I didn't get this clip. It's over 6 minutes long. But see, Bannon told John Brennan, start lawyering up, buddy. Told him he doesn't need to worry about going on MSNBC anymore, putting his 2 cents in. And that one of the first things that's going to happen the afternoon of January 20th is he's going to be stripped of his security clearances. And he's going to be spending millions in attorneys like he's forced so many other people to do, destroyed people's lives. Just like Kamala Harris said, I discovered I could destroy someone's life with my ink pen. All I had to do was sign my name to charges, and their life was over. Remember her saying that in her own words? They would lose their job, their family, their freedom, all with an ink pen. Those days are over. Other people are going to have that ink pen. This is wild. Tell me what y'all make of this. This is the vapor trails that hung in the air after those strikes that we just saw. See the multicolor? Those are emergency vehicles or whatever on the ground. But these are photographs people took of the vapor trails of those rockets we watched the videos of earlier. Kind of look like, I don't know, some out of science fiction movie. But as last night and today was progressing, all these reports were coming out. Ukrainian Armed Forces Stratcom states that Ukraine was hit by an intercontinental ballistic missile. It is reported that Ukraine became the first country in the world against which such weapons are used. Putin began his address. Western long-range missiles were used on Russian territory. The enemy's targets were not achieved. Putin, after the ATACMS and Storm Shadow missile strikes, regional conflict in Ukraine acquired elements global in nature. Russia today launched a strike with non-nuclear hypersonic ballistic missile. The Russian strike targeted a military-industrial facility. I can't pronounce the name of that area. The target was successfully hit. That's what we saw a video of. The Russian military used the latest Russian medium-range system, Oreshnik, says Putin. Existing missile defense systems, including American elements in Europe, will not be able to intercept missiles like Oreshnik. Russia will warn civilians in advance if systems like Oreshnik are used. That's a quote from Putin. We just heard that. The U.S. made a mistake by violating the agreement on the elimination of long-range missiles. they transferred their missile systems to different regions of the world. If anyone doubts this, it is in vain. There will always be an answer, the president said. Russia considers itself entitled to use weapons against facilities of those countries that allow their weapons to be used against Russian facilities, Putin said. In the event of escalation, Russia will respond decisively and in kind. Russia used experimental medium-range ballistic missile in attack on Ukraine, U.S. official says. One of the first reactions to the Oreshnik used in whatever that area is. CNN, oh boy, citing an American official, reports that Russia allegedly used only a few of these experimental missiles. According to CNN, the U.S. authorities knew in advance about the possibility of using new medium-range ballistic missiles, so they warned Ukraine and other countries about it in advance. That is why all those embassies closed and got cleared out that we were talking about. The 500-year era of Western civilization dominance is over, and the Eurasian century is coming. Hungarian Prime Minister who? Viktor Orban, Trump ally. Only those who do not know Putin and the insane think he is bluffing when it comes to using all available weapons to defend Russian territory, said the Serbian President Vučić. I guess that's how you say his name. They report that in addition to the large and menacing missile that hit whatever, the missiles hit a Patriot air defense system battery. International Criminal Court issues arrest warrant for Israel Prime Minister Netanyahu and Defense Minister Gallant for alleged war crimes in Gaza. Oh, really? What did Justin Trudeau have to say about that? I got a clip of that. Everybody saying, if Netanyahu comes, are you going to arrest him? Here he is. Trudeau himself. What do you think he said? If is he going to arrest Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu? Let's see what he says.
Michelle Song, CBC News. Now that the ICC has issued warrants for Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and his former Defense Minister Yoav Gallant, Canadian law enforcement is obligated to arrest them should they come to Canada. Will you allow that to happen, or will you step in to prevent an arrest?
First of all, as Canada has always said, it's really important that everyone abide by international law. This is something we've been calling on from the beginning of the conflict. We are one of the founding members of the International Criminal Court and International Court of Justice. We stand up for international law, and we will abide by all the regulations and rulings of the international courts. This is just who we are as Canadians.
Well, I guess it's going to be paging Justin Trudeau. I guess. I don't know. So where was I? Down on these, here's a little meme for y'all. Someone made a Trump mosaic out of crying liberals. And then it shows a close-up of one of the crying faces. Rachel Madcow. That's funny. What's this one? Let me see. The co-captain of San Jose State University volleyball team, along with 10 athletes from other schools, are suing for infringing on their Title IX rights by allowing a male who thinks he's transgender to play on a woman's team. Good for them. So people are starting to stand up and get courage. We can thank Nancy Mace for that, and Marjorie Taylor Greene, and many of the other female politicians who aren't going to put up with that crap. Here we go. I like this one. I'll put this one over here. Let me see. How can I get these to work together? Get them all to stay up there. That face you make. Well, I guess they won't fit. That face you make when you see yet another liberal having a meltdown on TikTok over Trump's election. Speaking of which, here's Alan Lichtman. I'm done with X. This is the guy with the 7 keys said Trump was going to lose. I'm done with X. I'll be deactivating my account soon. The good news is I'll be over on Blue Sky. A lot of people are calling that blue hair. You can follow me there. Yeah, right, Sid. Hear more bull crap? Story is, there are reports coming out that this Blue Sky is like Mastodon. And if you all will remember, Mastodon, everybody went to Mastodon when Elon first bought Twitter, and it turned to be infested with P3DOs. P3DOs, and they're saying the same thing about Blue Sky. So watch for reports about that coming out. Breaking. School board in Wisconsin just voted to ban males from using girls' restrooms or participating in girls' sports. People are stepping up, and it's states like Wisconsin, California, where they have traditionally intimidated people from standing up for themselves because they had media dominance, and that media dominance is coming to an end. This is the Commissioner Diane Ellis Marsiglia. I talked about her last night. She was recorded on video saying she will violate the law and count illegal ballots in Bucks County, Pennsylvania. She needs to be arrested and charged. We shall see. That may happen. And why did Elon Musk repost this? Elon facts. The true battle is, and always has been, the expansionists and the extinctionists. The extinctionists. He must be talking about the depopulation crowd, right? The eat the bugs crowd. Elon Musk again. Why are sanctuary cities protecting child rapists? Unconscionable. Any politician who does so should be recalled immediately. Worse than that, at some point you're aiding and abetting. They're certainly aiding and abetting in violation of laws concerning illegal entry into the country. ICE Boston announced the arrest of 3 alleged illegal alien, and you know what they did, abusing young people in Massachusetts, 2 of whom are charged with forcibly, you know what, grape. So anyway, you see what's going on there. Children in Massachusetts being victimized. And did you know yesterday was the last day of, I guess, some kind of transgender pride day? Libs of TikTok put this picture up and said, happy Pride Day or whatever it was. And the week before that was celebrating the parents of these Pride Day people. Transgenders, right? Benders, gender benders. Here you go. UK and US language differences. Fries, chips, airplane, aeroplane, subway, underground, memes, 2 years in jail. We might have to go over there to do a rescue mission. I don't know. NATO is going to have a new sheriff in town. Trump picks Matt Whitaker for NATO ambassador. He was acting attorney general after Jeff Sessions quit. He's a proven commodity, proven loyalist. And you know, hi Cola, how you doing? Dixie, how you doing? And you know he's going to get approved. Did you all get to see this meme yet? He got new Rocket Man. Oh, that's right, Decat. Remember I put up those articles that Russian submarines were popping up everywhere? They're in the Bering Straits right off the coast of Alaska. They're off the coast of California, San Francisco, over near Norfolk and Virginia Beach. And they're equipped to fire missiles. This is weird. Y'all might want to get a screenshot of this. Remember I showed my thumbnail, The Economist, showing Putin and Trump, and it said apocalyptic. Said apocalypse. And I said, who's responsible for this? Well, this is another cover from The Economist. World Ahead 2025. Look at those symbols. Trump is in the center. Remember, symbolism will be their downfall. Donald Trump returns. The global consequences. Trade war. Immigration. Climate. Time to talk about geoengineering. I got a video about climate. Al Gore and the great Rush Limbaugh. Crunch year for AI. But anyway, look at these. Got President Xi, but you got the eye of Providence. Is that what that is? And you got an hourglass. Remember Scavino, 2 times he put up an hourglass, but most of the sand was at the bottom. This one shows the top part of the hourglass full. I'm just wondering, they show an electric car, they show a needle, they show a rocket. I don't know. It's just Zelensky, Putin. I don't know. We shall see. And the fist at the bottom there's, I think, a Marxist symbol. Marxist. So, another era that's going to end, I'll pull that video up in a minute, is going to be this climate change crap. But here's the Epstein Island Loyalty Rewards Program. Look who we got there. Comcast is going to spin off one of Oprah's companies. I guess that's like Harpo Productions is a satellite of it. MSNBC, they're going to spin off Oxygen and a bunch of other stuff. But anyway, they got Tom Hanks, Bill Clinton, Oprah Winfrey, Ellen DeGeneres, and Bill Gates. We know it's a lot more than that. But just a snapshot. What's this one? There's Barry Cunningham. CBS Sports social media team is removing the Trump dance from NFL and college football highlights. Why would they do that? Well, it's like I started my video off with. Newly unearthed video shows Hitler did the Trump dance. That's just a joke. The people that weren't at the beginning of the video is just a joke. It shows right here. Kamala asked Biden to stop doing the Trump dance at cabinet meetings. I didn't put this one up yet, did I? Oh, yeah. I remember Jeff Sessions saying illegal leaks, all illegal leaks will be tracked down, prosecuted. He said that 5 years ago. What I don't know about is the leaks on this House committee investigation. Is that illegal at the same level of grand jury and Department of Justice investigations that were being leaked? Here is, now, young people watching this, keep in mind, this video is probably 35 years old or more. This is when Al Gore was still a senator. This is how long they have been being boogeyman and scaring people. Al Gore put his book in schools, put a film, the National Education Association paid Al Gore millions of dollars of our tax money to play that video called Earth in the Balance, scared generations of people. Here he is, and Rush Limbaugh is debating him, like I said, over 35 years ago. All a bunch of crap.
Got local environmental problems, regional problems like acid rain. Now we've got a whole new category of global or strategic problems, which include the hole in the ozone layer, which now could appear above the United States, global climate change, the destruction of the rainforests at a rate that means they'll be totally gone in another few decades unless we stop, the pollution of the oceans and the atmosphere, and the like. These represent brand new challenges that call for a new kind of response.
Rush, I've listened to you many afternoons, as you know, and you tend to, I don't want to say you dismiss all of these issues, but at least you dismiss them as having been proven beyond a shadow of a doubt.
Well, absolutely. I don't think that there's anything conclusive about what Senator Gore said, with all due respect. I think, for example, there is no ozone hole over the United States. If we want to get into a detailed discussion of ozone depletion, we can, but I think, Ted, that there is not a crisis. See, this is the problem I have. I don't think the Earth is fragile. I don't think the ecology is fragilely balanced. And I think that the doomsday industry that is typified by members of the Hollywood acting community who say we've only got 10 years left to save our planet, we've got to act now. There's no way, if what these people say is true, that we can solve these problems in 10 years anyway. It's budget time in Washington. NASA's being cut. And I think that this fright and doom scenario is designed to frighten people. Everything in this country today seems to be a crisis. We can't do anything without it being having to face it as a crisis. We don't have any time to think about it. There are as many scientists, maybe even more, on the opposite side of all of these doomsday predictions, and I think that
That's
they need
not
to be listened
true.
to. Yeah, oh yes, there are.
That's not true. If I can jump in there, Ted, where the ozone hole is concerned, for example, the linkage between these chemicals, chlorofluorocarbons, and the ozone hole is established. There may be 1/100th of 1% of the scientific community that disputes it.
Oh, no. It's far more than that. Ted, that the environmental movement, as fueled by the militants who lead it, I think is the new home of socialism.
The ozone hole is threatening to open up above North America, above Kennebunkport, and still we're not reacting.
You had people buying gallons of sunscreen, worrying about cancer, the world coming to an end, the ozone hole story, the acid rain story, all just disappeared. Nothing we did to change it, except they were talking a bunch of made-up crap. Before that, it was the world was going to freeze. Leonard Nimoy did a documentary or whatever about global freezing. Ayn Rand, when she wrote her book Atlas Shrugged, they were talking about the sun burning out and us all freezing to death because the sun reached its usable life. They're always thinking of something to be boogeyman about, and like Limbaugh said, to have us all living in fear. We're not supposed to live in fear. We're supposed to enjoy our lives. Here's one more clip. Brian Williams. He's been out of the game for a while, and he's just putting his 2 cents in about how the media is. Talk about end of an era. The media as we know it is finished. Nobody trusts them anymore. MSNBC's the first one. CNN probably will be next. CBS is going to be facing, with that new Federal Communications Commissioner, I can't think of his name right off the top of my head, and Pam Bondi, stuff that CNN was pulling, they're going to pay a price for it. But anyway, here's Brian Williams.
I think it's insulting when members of the working class, which the Democratic Party has lost entirely in our lifetimes, to insist the economy is doing great. A 12-pack of Bounty is $40. Rich folks don't feel that. Poor folks already switched to Sparkle during the COVID, during the lockdown. And I think telling them that the NASDAQ is gangbusters is further insulting. It's insulting. I think the biggest unforced error of the Biden administration by far was the border. To tell people it's not a problem is insulting. For the working class to see incoming migrants getting welcome bags, debit cards, and motel rooms is probably insulting as well. So there's a lot of work to do. You know, it was when they handed out camo hats that said Harris Walls, and the Democrats they were kind of charmed by that. Their party has gone quinoa, and the rest of America's eating at Cracker Barrel. And so it was kind of an ironic use of something millions of Americans put on their heads to start their day every day. Yeah, they need to reach out to America again and be less about what's called suicidal empathy, worrying so much about minority groups in society and in your party that you win the argument, but you don't win.
You don't win the election. They didn't win any argument, those idiots. But I'll let you get away with it because you brought up stuff you should have brought up, which was all the money they've given away, at the very least. Now, here is the ambassador to the Philippines telling Filipinos they need to get home. They need to, if they're here in the country illegally, they need to leave, because if they get caught and are here unlawfully, they can't come back for 10 years. I didn't know that. You get a 10-year moratorium where you cannot re-enter and request citizenship.
The Philippine ambassador should not have said those things because it causes unnecessary panic in our community.
Romeo Hebron says he was flooded with calls and walk-ins to the migrant center here in North Long Beach once Filipinos heard this from their ambassador.
Well, my advice to them is to immediately leave voluntarily, because once you're deported, you can never come back to the United States.
Certainly blunt advice, but not entirely correct. Being caught without authorization in the U.S. brings a 10-year ban against returning legally. Still, the message was clear. Leave now before being caught up in President-elect Trump's mass deportation threats.
My advice is for them not to wait to be deported.
There are about 4 million Filipinos in the U.S., and our estimate is that 1 in 4 is undocumented.
That's between 200 and 300,000 Filipinos. And many have been in the U.S. for decades.
Yeah, well, that ambassador is giving good advice. It's not a threat. Trump's made a promise that he's going to do deportations. Here, I had this in my studio the other day. I didn't get a chance to put it up. But I talked in the past about we got 12-year-olds having liver transplants, mostly because of high fructose corn syrup being in these sodas instead of cane sugar. I've talked about that for 2 years. Trump put out truths that said certain things are in everything, kind of like high fructose corn syrup in everything. Well, RFK Jr. Intends to require Coca-Cola Company, well, that's not just Coca-Cola. All the major soft drink brands to begin using cane sugar instead of high fructose corn syrup as Health and Human Services Secretary. So a lot of people complaining about saying Robert F. Kennedy's not qualified and all this crap. Look here. This is the current Health and Human Services Secretary. His name is Xavier Becerra. He has no answers as for why migrant child sponsors are listing strip clubs as their home address. And this is when they were questioning about the 300,000+ children missing. These people have no idea where they are. They got a lot of nerve talking about Robert F. Kennedy. A hell of a lot of nerve. So anyway, I've got this little video I like. I think you'll like it too. And I hope you enjoy it. I appreciate everybody that tuned in to be with me tonight, spending your precious time with me. I'll be going live tomorrow night, and we'll see what other fast-moving events happen. What are they going to try to cook up against Pam Bondi? I don't know, but we shall see. So if everything goes okay, I'll go live. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you can join me. And I appreciate you watching even after the live. And don't forget to give me a thumbs up. It helps the video get around. Enjoy this quick little video. I hope you all have a great night. This is Mountain Man, over and out.
You want to play games? Okay. Have to play with it. Come on. Okay. You want to play rough? Okay. Say hello to my little friend.